safe. But the sacrifices were great.
And France, Prime Minister, sacrificed more, perhaps, than any of us.
And the Ottoman Empire is no more. But that was due to your sacrifices, Monsieur le Prime Minister, and for those we are most grateful.
You will take some tea?
Ah, mais oui, merci.
Now, we will have to settle our claims on the area at the peace talks.
We have fought a little over those claims. You would like, perhaps, that we modify ours?
We had our eye on Mosul.
You shall have it. And perhaps something else.
Palestine?
You shall have that too.
الفرنسيين كانوا يريدوا يفرضوا شروط قاسية على الألمان ويأخذوا من الألمان يعني جزء من المناطق المتنازع عليها، وكانوا يريدوا الدعم البريطاني في مؤتمر الصلح. ففي المقابل كليمنسو تساهل فيما يتعلق بفلسطين، لكن فيما يتعلق في الموصل قدم تنازل. بهذه الجلسة تقريبا أصبح واضح أنه سايكس بيكو انتهت.
The signs of the SykesPicot Agreement being superseded began to emerge at the start of the peace negotiations in Paris in January 1919. The victorious Allies were about to impose harsh conditions on the vanquished, and the British and French to decide which of the conflicting promises they had made during the war would be implemented.
Et donc, à partir de ce moment-là, vous avez une négociation complexe avec des hauts et des bas, des retournements, des scènes dramatiques, parce qu'on est dans la comédie diplomatique où chacun joue son jeu, qui va durer en fait de décembre 1918 à avril 1920, avec des inflexions considérables.
ساد على الأقل بين الإنجليز وبين الفرنسيين تفاهم بأنه بعد أن انهزموا الحلفاء ألمانيا كان من الضروري إبقاء هذا الحلف بشكل متين وقوي لمواجهة عودة ألمانيا كقوة عظمى. فكانوا يختلفوا وبعدين يرجعوا ليقولوا والله بس الحاجة أكبر لأن نبقى مع سوا لمواجهة ألمانيا.
In April 1920, the four main allies, Britain, France, Italy, and Japan, met at the San Remo Conference. They created three entities: Mesopotamia, Syria, and Palestine. The French forced Faisal out of Damascus and took complete control of Syria. Britain took Mesopotamia and Palestine, including Jerusalem, which had been under international administration under the terms of Sykes-Picot.
So really it's San Remo we should be talking about if we want to say, what does the modern Middle East look like? And the striking thing is this: if Britain had been concerned to preserve relations with France right through this negotiation, right through this process, they failed. Because the French looked at Sykes-Picot and they looked at the map of San Remo, and they realized that they got much less in San Remo than they had been promised by the British in Sykes-Picot. We overlook these things, but in a sense I think that Sykes-Picot reflects a failure of trying to negotiate a happy resolution of British and French territorial ambitions in the Middle East. Britain came out with more and the French never forgave them.
France had insisted on Mosul in the Sykes-Picot negotiations, but at San Remo, they conceded it to Britain despite the fact that it was known to be rich in oil.
Or, ils découvrent très rapidement que même si les ressources de pétrole que les Français recherchent sont dans le vilayet de Mossoul, ce sont les Anglais présents dans la Turkish Petroleum Company qui ont les concessions, et pas les Français. Donc les Français risquent d'avoir le territoire sans les concessions. Et les Anglais ont les concessions, mais ils n'ont pas le territoire.
France got a bit more territory in the south, along the southern edges of what would become the Iraq-Syria boundary. It got more there. It got 25% of any oil that would be produced from Mosul, even though that was going to now be developed as a British concern.
On the international stage, the League of Nations now created a series of mandates. It placed some new Arab territories under the supervision of the British and French, a kind of occupation in disguise.
L'article 22 de la Charte de la Société des Nations qui définit les mandats. Et les mandats sont définis de façon contradictoire. Parce que dans l'article 22, on dit que les mandats sont une tutelle, mais on dit que ce sont un conseil. Si c'est une tutelle, la puissance mandataire contrôle étroitement les actions de leur pupille. Si c'est un conseil, la puissance mandataire ne fait que conseiller et non pas ordonner.
The British and the French did overcome their differences in their carve-up of the Middle East and agreed on concrete borders in December 1920. A joint French-British committee was set up to deal with the matter.
رسم الحدود ما بين العراق وسوريا وما بين لبنان وفلسطين هو أن الضباط الفرنسيين والضباط الإنجليز كانوا يمشوا على طرفين ما أصبحت فيما بعد الحدود من قرية إلى قرية من منطقة إلى منطقة وقالوا هذا إلكم هذا إلنا عملية.
As well as dividing up the region into 3 new entities and implementing the mandate system, Britain and France further split the territories they now controlled. The French divided Syria into 5 states, including Greater Lebanon.
مجرد سيطرة الفرنسيين على سوريا قاموا في البداية بتوسيع متصرفي جبل لبنان العثماني بأخذ مناطق قطاعات من بقية الألوية السورية لولاية دمشق ولولاية صيدا وصنعوا لبنان كما نعرفه الآن.
Syria was divided into the states of Damascus, Aleppo, the Alawite state, and Mount Druze. Lebanon would become a republic 6 years later.
في دمشق كان تيار توحيدي انه لا تكون دعوا سوريا على ما هي ولا تقسموها وكان هناك تيارات انفصاليه ايضا فكان على الفرنسي ان يوازن بين الامرين لانه ماذا يريد الفرنسي؟ هل يهم الفرنسي ان يقسم او يوحد؟ لا ما يهمه هو ان تستمر سيطرته.
The British Colonial Office organized the Cairo Conference in 1921, hosted by the new Colonial Secretary, Winston Churchill. It drew another important line within the British area of influence, separating the land east of the River Jordan from Palestine.
Churchill came to this brief without any pre-existing ideas on the future of the Middle East. He was, in a sense, moving as quickly as events were to try and put in place administrative structures that could prove effective in securing Britain's interest, at least cost to the exchequer.
I mean, there had been some proposals, which, particularly from the Zionist organization, which were pushing for a Palestine being defined in much more extensive terms to include the East Bank of the Jordan as well. But in the end, Jordan and Palestine ended up being under the same British mandate, as you know, at the end of the First World War. And then we simply had an order in council that established, if you like, its first main border in 1922.
When the Hashemites failed in their bid to establish an independent Arab kingdom, the Cairo Conference created Transjordan, with Sharif Hussein's elder son, Abdullah, as emir. Iraq was created in Mesopotamia with Hussein's younger son Faisal as king. Faisal had been a commander in the Arab revolt and was the deposed king of Syria.
If we look at Iraq's territorial definition today, there were zones envisaged in SykesPicot that cut across it. But the actual boundaries to be drawn, I suppose, for Iraq after SykesPicot, the first one would have been shortly after Iraq had been created in 1920, was the Anglo-French